Tonight on Another Thing About Tartan, we have a very special guest, someone I have to admit I just invited because I was so intrigued by his totally unique offering to the world. So I'm delighted to welcome Scott Cuthbertson, Scotland's magician for the business world, wedding entertainer, member of the world famous Magic Circle, and most recently appointed the Scottish Society of American Magicians. So Scott, you have been a magician for 23 years.
Yes.
So how did you end up being a magician? Why? What inspired you to follow this role?
I've been doing it for so much longer. I've been full time for 23 years. It's been my job for 23 years. But I got into it when I was about 6 or 7. I loved magic and TV, and we went on holiday to Bournemouth, and there was a magician in Light doing an adult cabaret show. Adult as in grown-ups, not risky. And just so you know, and I was loaded up to see it because I love magic.
Yeah.
And of course, being the only kiddie in the place, he got me up to help. And things went really badly wrong. We fired somebody's £5 note, and yeah, that didn't work. And then he gave me a magic wand. We waved a magic wand, and the tricks worked. And all of a sudden I thought, ooh, I can do this. That was the birth of the ego as well, because everyone was cheering me, which was quite nice. And came back and just found I couldn't really do magic. So I went to local library, did books and card tricks, and got magic sets for birthday and Christmas, and just basically kept myself going like that. And then I got to high school, and in my year was a Scottish Young Magician of the Year.
Oh.
Who knew that was a thing? I thought it was just me, nobody else, but here's somebody else who was doing it. Yeah. So through him I got introduced to Magic Shop in Glasgow, the legendary Tam Shepherds.
Wow.
And then magic clubs. And so started when I was about 16, actually out doing shows for different types of thing. Moved into retail when I left school, which I really, really enjoyed. I like talking to people. But I started collecting redundancies shortly after. And after the third one, I thought, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. So I just decided I would try doing magic full time. And fortunately it's worked out. Not had to look back, and yeah, my mum still says when you get a proper job. But we'll keep doing magic for a little bit longer, I think.
And do you then, so there's no magic school, so have you learned, so does like your magic clubs, is that learning?
Well, kind of. The more support, because you go along and you see people performing, and all people from all different levels performing, and you see a lot of magic, and it can inspire you to say, I like that, but I need to find something a bit different. But what I love about magic clubs is they would get guest magicians coming in who gave lectures, and they taught you magic. And I used to love going and watching these guys because they're all professionals. And to be honest, it wasn't the tricks they were doing; it was the way they presented them. It was their personalities. That's the bit I loved about it. So yeah, the magic clubs were really good. Books. I mean, there was no internet at the time. I know, right?
No YouTube.
No YouTube to learn these things. So it really was just a case of borrowing my magic books from the library and getting on and then getting into the clubs and learning. So kind of like self-taught, but with a lot of influence from different people.
Wow, so interesting. So in Scotland then, is there much of a magic scene? Have you had to go elsewhere?
Well, there's lots of work in Scotland at some beautiful venues. I love working, but one of my core values to my business, because I set up 5 core values, is adventure, where you get on the road and go and visit new places and see different things. So I cover all of the UK. I've worked in Europe, so I've been to Dublin and elsewhere in Ireland. I've been to Chateau Chantilly outside Paris, which was a very, very nice place. Can't believe I was there. I don't think they could believe I was there when I turned up. But so I'll basically go where people offer, and that's part of what I love about it. You're doing this drive at night a lot of the time, but the next morning when you open the curtains and you see where you are, it's a nice surprise. Yeah. And you get to see some new faces, you get to see some new places. So that's a really good part. I really enjoy the travel. I know it sounds weird, but I do really enjoy the travel.
Yeah. And so, being Scottish, do you think that affects, have you taken, because you talked about personality and how important that was, so does that come into your show?
I think
do you take that
we have that personality, don't we?
It's just in us.
We do. We want to be friendly, we want to see people, we want to talk. We talk a lot. Okay, so my business name came from, because I call myself Scotland's Magician, and it came from working at these corporate venture in London, and I did 3 in a week, and by coincidence, it was the same MC compere that was there each time. And my description on his crib sheet was magician from Scotland, because that's how they sold me. It was exotic having a magician all the way from Scotland doing it. And they turned up on the third night and he said, "Are you Scotland's magician?" Because he kept saying magician from Scotland. I was the only one he saw. I went, "Yeah." I saw it, that sounds nice, I'll take that. Yeah. Came back, told my web developer that I wanted to come up with his business name, and he said that's going to work great for Google. So it was a really cool thing. So yeah, I did have to change my voice a little bit, because typical Glaswegian talking at 100 miles an hour didn't work round about London, so I had to slow myself down, talk a little bit deeper, although I did keep asking if they wanted subtitles. And lots of them did Ramsay Nesbitt impressions at me.
Oh, no.
And I'd pretend I didn't understand anything they were saying. Just like, excuse me? You know. So we did play on the Scottishness quite a bit, especially because, you know, in Scotland we're kind of like, we're happy underdogs.
Yes.
You know, we are, but we're really happy about like being underdogs. And that's the kind of way I played it. People were able to have a go at me, but then it gave me an excuse to have a go back, being Scottish. So yeah, so that, I think, I don't know if it was like, has made me, but working down south, it does add to the event. Yeah. Having that little bit of culture. Yeah, culture. I was going to say culture. I'm not sure culture is the right word for me, to be honest. You know, it's not that cultural thing that I do, but it's just sharing our joy at being Scottish. Yeah.
Can you make them disappear? How much would I have to pay you?
Kids, you know. But no, I do have.
We do have a weird cupboard that.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Mummy always says that there's a ghost in there.
See where the black Stuart jacket is downstairs? Whenever I come out the bathroom, I'm like, oh, person. I feel like there's something in that area. It doesn't feel good.
See, I love that stuff. I love that stuff. I've got a big book of like haunted venues, haunted castles. And when I go to a new venue, I go and look it up, right? And I found this one. It was down by the Borders. Can't remember the name of it, but it was like unrequited love was the theme. And the young lady, she was in the tower at the side of the castle, in the kind of turret room, right? And she threw herself out of a turret, and where she lands in the grass, no grass will grow. So I went down there to do a wedding and thought, well, I'm here a little bit early. I've got to be honest, the turret, right, isn't very high up. To be honest, I think a sprained ankle would have been the worst of this. But the lawn kind of like came in like that under the window, and for 2 or 3 feet, it was just mud.
So many bits.
Right, and I was thinking, now, do they do that on purpose for people that know the story? It'd be good if they did, by the way. I would love that.
We're going to have to find out where this tower is.
I need to
down there. We need
well,
to
there you go. And it's, well, you know, it's one of these ones where it's like something castle, and you end following these tiny little roads for miles. Yeah. You know that, so they all kind of blend into one. But Glam's Castle, I used to do work for them. I'm home to get back in there because I was working for them until the lockdown happened, and they do a ghost tour. Right, so I did an event for a family. Had hired Glam's Castle in the dining hall. I know, right? I should have charged more. And so I did their dinner, and then he said, "You come back," and they have this ghost walk. And I was in the dining room again, as talking about the witches of Glam's. You know, after Macbeth and the Hubble, Bubble, Toil, Drum and all that. So I did some really spooky magic, and then we summoned the witches, and all these girls jumped out behind the curtains and from under the table. People were screaming. See, if they weren't screaming the way out, we were disappointed. But that kind of stuff is awesome.
That sounds really cool. Yeah.
It is very, very, and it's 2 days, and it's solidly booked. And it's like a tour every 10 minutes. So you're in there for like 4 hours, and it was every 10 minutes there's people coming through. I wasn't fair. The witches got a break. They could like drop in and out, swap over. Oh no, I was there. My voice at the end of it.
Go on.
What's spooky magic?
You do. I was doing some metal bending type things. Right, and it happens in people's hand, and that's the thing about it. Is that, and it was like the power from within the walls. The energy was still there, kind of thing, to make that happen. So I grew up watching Uri Geller. You know, I got to meet him at an event. What a just lovely guy, absolute lovely guy. And I got a signed book from him, and he signed it. Then he turned to the blank page. He put his hand on it and drew around his fingers and put mystic symbols and flames and things on. Said, "Scott, if ever you feel low in energy, put your hand in mine." I went,
oh, love that.
How nice is that? And it's not, you know, it's so not a belief thing. He was just doing a really nice thing for me. Yeah. That's all he was doing. So yeah, I'm really lucky. I get to meet some really cool people, like you guys.
Cool. Very cool.
We need a group picture at the end of it. I get emotional. Okay.
So did you have a classic Scottish childhood then? Were you...
Yeah, I don't know. What's the classic Scottish childhood?
Well, I don't know, because, I suppose a Glasgow childhood's different to my kind of rural childhood.
Kind of grew up a bit posh. We were in Newton Mearns on the south side of Glasgow. Newton Mearns, it was quite, it wasn't, my wife came from Denniston, right, so it was not quite as posh from over there. So, I don't traditionalist. I mean, I remember it's just fun. Back in the day, because there weren't video games and internet or anything like that. There's a big field at the bottom of the street, and everyone just piled into that field and we played football or cricket or whatever was happening. And it was just a thing. People you didn't know would turn up and you just go and do it. Yeah. And honestly, it was just it's just a kind of grown up, and it was nice because I'm going to say this right. I don't want any stares, right? But I'm really shy, okay, with what I do. You see, no, I am. And when I was young, I was shy as well. So it was good because we had this group of friends that I could go and hang out with, and there was safety in numbers. So that was all really, really good. I just remember because a lot of magicians, ready for this? They get started because they get bullied at school. Paul Daniels, right? He got bullied at school, but he did magic for them instead. They left him alone. And I was kind of the opposite, right? I had loads of great friends at school. I used to hang around this group, and it was heartbreaking when we finished, and everyone kind of drifted away.
Oh yeah, and you don't see them.
You don't see them, yeah, and it's weird, but my wife was at school with me. And there was this gorgeous girl who was in my class, right? Seriously gorgeous girl, long dark hair, dark eyes, way out my league. Because I was really shy and couldn't talk to anybody. I just think only like about 8-9 years later she married me. But yeah, I don't know how Scotch it was because I always remember like my mum made a big fuss about like Hogmanay. It wasn't a massive Burns Night thing about Hogmanay because the entire streets would come and visit, and we'd go and see everybody else. And when you're that size, staying up past midnight was a big buzz. That was the thing about it. And Scotch and Rye. In fact, we still do that on Hogmanay because I work till about 10 o'clock in Hogmanay doing magic. Come home and we watch Scotch and Rye until the fireworks in Edinburgh come on the TV, and then we do that and we go back to more Scotch and Rye. So that's kind of like the family tradition, yeah. What's fun as well is I've got a really good friend Angie who's in Cincinnati, and she does podcasts about business people in different countries. And she did one and said to me, "Want to do a Christmas version? Tell us about a traditional Christmas in Scotland." And I didn't know. What's a traditional Christmas? Because I always thought...
we didn't have Christmas.
No,
you didn't get the deal for Christmas till... Was it not 1960s that only...
you know what? It's before...
It's not that long ago.
So I switched it to Hogmanay. And then I'm trying to remember, right, the traditions that we had for like carrying a bit of coal in. So why did you carry a bit of coal in? I'm like, to try and remember these stories. So I may have...
Every time my dad did that, he always went about with his bit of coal. It was just an excuse to be able to go around for a beer with the neighbours.
Absolutely.
Always.
Well, that is a Scottish tradition.
So what do you love most about your very unique career? You said travel before.
Travel's amazing, but every day is different. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing the same show, because in the show people will react differently, and people might join in and say something. And so every show works out differently, and it's the buzz. And I think the 2 years we had this bit of a pause, that's what I missed most. It was the buzz of getting out and seeing people's faces, because you know what my job is? My job is to make people smile. That's it. There's nothing more to it than that. My job is to make people smile, because if they smile, they remember where and when they had a good time, which is what my clients want them to remember. So my job is to make them smile, and being away from it, not being able to, was hard. Because I did some virtual magic shows around the world. And even though people were there and they're laughing and joining in, the connection just wasn't there. But I'm actually doing another one on Monday. And these people have seen me like 4 times now. I'm kind of running out of material. So we need to come up with another 15 minutes for them. But it is that, and people say, "You're what? What do you do? Magician. What instrument do you play?" No. Magician. All right. What's your day job? No, I do magic. So, no, but what do you do for a living? So, and it's interesting because it's a bit different. And of course, some people just assume it's about kiddies parties. So I dress up as a clown and make animals at balloons, which is, that's fine, because here's the thing, I love doing that as well. I don't dress up as a clown, right? But I love doing magic. You know, I'm a magician. I'm a gigging magician. Whatever the audience is, I've got a show. And that's what it's about. And even being able, at the moment, I'm able to do more children's shows as the corporate world sort of comes back into work. So it's taking a bit longer to get there. So I'm going to do children's magic shows. And the look in their faces when Smokey the Rabbit makes an appearance. You know?
Did you bring Smokey?
I've not brought Smokey today. She's got a way better agent than I have. So she only leaves the house under certain circumstances. Yeah, but because Shadow the Rabbit retired in lockdown after many years of service. Although she writes a blog on my website. I don't come out of it very well, I'm just a driver, obviously. And she has 2 books in Kindle and a TikTok channel.
Wow,
It's
I'm
a
going to
rabbit.
have to go into it.
Just because she decided that because I wasn't working, that I was just being lazy. She took over the business, and so there's videos of her on her desk with her laptop and her little jar of carrots at the side and her phone, you know, as she tried to get my career up and going again. So she retired just because she'd been, you know, I think after not being active for a while, it'd be difficult to get her back into it. And the thing is, they're pets. You know, these are my pals. I can't do anything that's going to upset them or hurt them. So Smokey is now taking up the reins, and he's doing absolutely brilliantly. He is so chilled and relaxed. It's good. Yeah. But I know it's great. Like you say, my job's to make people smile.
Well, and I found you through weddings. That was, and
yeah.
that was, we were doing a whole month focusing on weddings. Obviously, we do lots of lovely Tartans for weddings. But then, and so I thought, oh, well, do you just do weddings? But you don't. You do lots more. So what would you do differently then for a wedding? Have you got some good stories of things you've done for weddings?
I think at weddings, I'm not a typical magician. I don't wander up to people with a pack of cards in my hand and just do a trick. I kind of go over and chat. So sometimes they think I'm a guest and they just don't know who I am, what part of the family I'm from, you know, and go in and do that. But the thing with weddings is everyone's having a really good time anyway. The big part of weddings for me is looking after the little ones.
Okay.
Because they've been dressed up, right, and been told to sit still, don't move, don't breathe, don't do anything. Is letting them join in, take part, and blow some steam, and do that. I've had some interesting experiences at weddings that haven't gone quite as expected, because they're actually more fun, aren't they? Then you know, I did the card trick for somebody who went, ooh, that was good enough, but right, and I'll take you back to 9th of September 2009. Okay, they're doing it at 9 p.m. Okay, because 99099, right, and it was a very, very nice venue in Glasgow, seriously nice venue in Glasgow. So I got there about 8:30, and the wedding planner was like, Scott. I said, hi, what's happened? Well, they've had the wedding meal, they've done the speeches, and now the groom's changed his mind. Right, 5 minutes before the ceremony should start, the groom's changed his mind, doesn't want to do it anymore. Oh, okay, this is new and interesting, right? Because they've done the speeches, right? So instead they had a commitment ceremony. I'm not sure the bride was overly happy, but you know what? Good on her for doing it and trying to make things happen. But there was a storyteller there, and he'd spent months writing this story to incorporate everyone. And somebody was sitting there saying, "Take them out, take them out, take them out, take them out." You know, so we do get some interesting ones. Did another one as well, not far from here, a venue that I can never remember the name of, and I think it's kind of off the Western Approach Road. Anyway, and I got there. And it was a bride that booked me. So I went into the room that I was supposed to be in, and there was only 3 people there. I'm at the wrong place, something's going wrong, you know, I'm checking the details, and then the Toastmaster came in that I knew. I said, Peter, what's happening here? He went. So I went next door, and there was a pub in the corner, absolutely heaving. I said, his family, her family. And when the photographer came in to get everybody for the big group picture, the bride had like 2 people on her side, and he had everybody else along the street. So yes, you see some interesting things.
So
you've got to go and do it.
Together with
You're trying to bring them together, but sometimes it's you know, the bride, again, bless her, she just made the most of it, stayed proud on the day. You know, obviously Scottish. We've just got this attitude. We're going to get through it, and she was awesome. You know, and but I felt so bad for her. That's it. So yeah, there are some really cool ones with weddings. You know, when you're outside, it's pouring down with rain, and we're doing magic huddled under brollies because nobody wants to go away. We did another where I was indoors going around tables. See how they all start coming back to me, right? When you talk about it, and they switched all the lights off in the room because somebody was going to do something special. So all the people at tables that switched on their phone lights, right? And I did it by phone, like at the to finish off the set, you know. And it's just a case of just being ready for anything. I don't have a set routine that I do because something might turn up. Sometimes there's something lying on the table I can use. Sometimes somebody's got something in the pocket I can use. The one I did on Friday, the venue was still using like plastic straws. So what I did was, there was a girl there who's just like slightly too old for the kiddies magic, and slightly too young for us stuff. So I taught her a magic trick with 2 straws. And she basically went around the entire room going, check this out. You know, and she was brilliant, she loved it. But that's just because, you know, I've soaked up magic for as long as I can remember. And these things are in there. And they come out sometimes only come out once every 6 months. But they're there and you get to use them.
Yes, you don't have a specific style or a specific...
No, you go with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you go to some groups and you want it really silly and zany and ridiculous. Other groups you're a bit more mysterious. And maybe a bit more kind of like mind readery type thing because you like that. You know, some groups want to... Sometimes it's really noisy and I can't talk. So you end up just doing visual things and miming it all. But the main thing is everybody has to join in. It's not a case of sitting watching. Everybody takes part. Everybody either holds things, the magic happens on their hands, or I'm just talking to them. So everybody has to take part at the same time. Because otherwise I'm not doing my job.
So, you've got a recent appointment. Tell us what your fancy new title
the new title.
Scottish Envoy. What does that mean?
Scottish Envoy to the International Assembly of the Society of American Magicians.
It's quite a title.
It is quite a title. You know, I'm still figuring out what it means. All is like say, for 2 years I toured the world doing magic. I met a lot of people. I've got a great friend in Australia who is just a master magician. He is the most magical magician you ever meet. And the best way to describe him is, just daydream for a moment that you can do magic. Like, what would you do? And that's what he does. So it's like he thinks about it and he'll reach up and grab something out of midair, do something incredible with it and then make it vanish again. And that he's just so magical. So he set up a show called Webcasting Wizardry. And we had 5 magicians, myself and Gino who's in China, and 2 American magicians. And we all made little videos, put them together, and Jay put them together. We did a 2-hour show called Webcasting Wizardry. And when I was working with Jay doing that, he got me involved in doing other events that he was doing, which involved somebody called Anthony Darkstone, who had met in Falkland Palace many years ago, because we used to be an event called the Palace of Magic, where we took over the whole venue and filled it with magicians, doing close-up magic, stage magic, all kinds of things, just for fun. That was it. It was just for fun. And so Anthony is part of the Society of American Magicians. So we get chatting to Anthony and said, Scott, are you part of what we do? I said, no. It just hadn't come up. He says, do you want to be? Well, so anyway, long story short, I'm not a member of the Society of American Magicians as our international assembly. And he said what they have is they have local envoys, because people who want to apply, that kind of help them with the decision. You know, tell them what they need to do, what's involved, and then I give feedback in the person, how well do I know them, you know, as a magician. Because, you know, it's like the Magic Circle that I'm a member of, they have standards. They do have strong high standards, and you're supposed to audition. I didn't. Right, so
you were just invited?
I was just invited. Prince Charles had to audition as a member, but they hold auditions to make sure we get good, high standard people in. And
so Prince Charles is a magician?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did the trick with the 3 cups and the 3 balls. That's what he did for his audition to get in. There's pictures, and there may be some video footage somewhere. So there's a lot of people who are involved in magic that you don't realise. I mean, one of my best friends, right, and some of our viewers might remember the name is Jeremy Beadle. Jeremy was such a good friend of mine. If you don't know Jeremy, he was a huge TV star in the 80s and 90s in the UK, and he was very into magic. He had his own TV show for a couple of seasons, Beadle's Box of Tricks. So I met him at an event in Manchester, and he literally dragged me into a corner and said, right, do that again, because I'd done this thing. And, you know, he knew some of the biggest names in London that were helping him as sort of coordinating his magic show. And he just said, I've never seen that before. we need to hang out more. And we
So
did.
I could steal your tricks.
Basically, no, not at all. He became a mentor. We ended up doing a live TV show on Channel 5. It was an experience. The only reason he did it was to get me working in the TV studio. That's the only reason he took on this thing. And so that was the last TV thing he did. You know, so he was an incredible person. And you get to meet these amazing people through magic.
Yeah.
Because they have this passion that we have for this ridiculous thing that's totally meaningless and irrelevant in the real world.
Yeah, but
But
so much
we
fun.
fixate
Yeah.
on all these wonderful little details that's involved in it, and it's just when we get together and talk magic, it's just the best thing in the world. We can talk for hours. I think you're getting that. You might be getting that from me just now. But I do talk a
No,
lot,
it's
right?
an art. It's
I
intriguing.
really enjoy it. It's just, it is my total passion. It's what I do. So the Society of American Magicians are just the same as everywhere else. People interested in the art of magic. They have these gatherings, get-togethers where they do tricks for each other on Zoom because we're international. And it's joy to be part of it and see people doing other magic. Sometimes you're seeing tricks that you kind of do, but you're seeing it done such a different way.
Yeah.
And you'll have different ideas, and it's a great thing. You're not stealing it, obviously you're researching it.
Yeah.
So
Inspiring.
inspired, yeah, it inspires. But just seeing other people just doing magic because they just love doing it. I mean, for me, it's a little bit different. It's a job, you know, so I need to use it to bring in income.
Yeah.
But there's still this 5-year-old inside me that's the one that like card tricks from when they helped that magician on stage.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. Now, most importantly, how can we find you? How can our listeners find you?
You can find me, basically look up Scotland's Magician. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. Especially on Instagram, there's a lot of videos of tricks. There's some fun stuff in there. And my website is ScotlandSmagician.com. There's a theme running through that. You'll be able to find me really, really easily.
A magical thing.
If you want to ask me anything, then please message me. I will get back to you. It may take me a couple of days to get back to you, but I will return because, you know, if people are interested, we want to make sure that we're talking to them.
They can become magical.
They can become magical. So the thing is, do you want to do some magic?
Yes, please.
You know, because I want to show you, and the first, I just want to show you something that I think is purely the essence of magic.
Okay.
Okay, what I'm going to do, Anna, I need to put your hands on this. Because I've got these, and this is going to be a very quick trick. Right. You can give a little squeeze if you like. Some people like to.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they just like to do that. Okay, and see that magical thing of pulling your sleeves up. I can't help myself,
you're
right?
not cheating.
I know, absolutely, as if I would cheat, okay? And all we're going to do is this. If I grab this one and you test, but squeeze it really tight, really, really tight. Put your other hand on it. There you go. You ready? Because what's totally impossible would be for something you're holding on to disappear. That would be ridiculously impossible. There's no way that can happen. Of course, things can't just disappear. They can move. So if you very slowly open your hands like this. You see? And the first thing you did when you saw the magic? Smiled.
Smiled.
That's
You made
the
me
essence
smile.
of magic. You're seeing something really cool.
Yeah.
It's not a challenge. It's not a puzzle. I'm not saying, you don't know how that's done. I'm saying I'm just sharing something fun and exciting.
Fun.
So I also thought you might like to learn something. Everybody
Yeah.
home would like to learn a trick.
Definitely.
So here's some things. I use a lot of rubber bands with what I'm doing. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you something. This is straightforward. I was going to say easy, straightforward, but it's going to take a little bit of work to make it really smooth. But I'm going to show you what it is.
I'm feeling under pressure.
Not at all. Hold on for that. You'll get into this in a second. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to break the band. Okay, like this. So all you do is start with a broken rubber band. I'm going to put this here because the other band is going to go over. This doesn't make great TV, does it? But it will in a moment. So what you've got is the rubber band that's broken and the band hanging on it. And what I want you to do, so see, where's your happy place? You talk about me all day. Where's your happy place? What do you like that just makes you feel chilled and relaxed and nice?
Outside in the sunshine.
There you go. Right, what I want you to do is,
Sitting on the step.
I want you to imagine sitting on the step in the sunshine. Just close your eyes, feel the heat, okay? Now open your eyes again. Look at the band. this band over here. Band over here. Yeah.
Sorry.
Alright. That's okay.
I'm the worst.
And just imagine sitting in that step. Feel the heat in your face and the positive energy will make the band move up.
Moving.
Now make sure my hands aren't moving, my fingers don't
they're
move,
not
I'm not
moving.
changing anything.
Oh,
I'm not
doing
even
that.
looking at it, so I can't be blowing it. Some people think I'm blowing it. And the band will move really slowly. So it's still moving because I'm not looking.
Yeah, it's still moving.
Okay.
It's magic.
Alright, and this is, again, it's purely the essence of magic because it's effortless. And this really is effortless. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to be, you know, the thing is, right, I'm going to show you, you're going to be so disappointed. You're going to be so disappointed when we do this.
Uh-oh.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to, oops, there's your band.
There's my broken one.
There's your broken one. And the first thing I'm going to do is hold it up to show them this broken band, but actually what you're doing, there's more to it, right? Is you're making sure it's not twisted.
Okay.
So if you hang it like that, it'll untwist. Twisting is bad. Trust me in this, twisting is bad for this.
Okay.
Now, your other hand, if I want to drop your band down the chair just now, you're going to just lower it down into your palm and leave a little bit sticking out your thumb and finger like that. Okay, close your fingers but not tight. You want to very loosely, so you're only just holding it in there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this little bit sticking out. I'm going to give you a little bit more, okay? See that thumb and finger? Squeeze tight. Okay, squeeze it really tight.
Okay.
Take the other band and you're going to loop it over. Okay, keep squeezing those fingers tight and take that end and pull it. And it'll only go a little bit because you're only stretching that last inch of the band.
Mm-hmm.
And all you're going to do, see that thumb and finger squeezing really tight? Release the grip. Right, and all you're doing,
Doing magic.
you're doing magic because what you're actually doing, if I start this again.
Now it's stopped.
No, it'll keep going, it will keep going, it won't get to the end, but it will get most of the way. What you're actually doing is because you release the pressure there, the band is retracting and pulling itself back together and it just drags the other band with it. Now once you've practiced this a little bit, you can use finger rings. As long as you don't make it too steep, anything will go. But here's the big important bit, right? You can feel this bit of the band at the end sliding between your fingers. When it gets near the thumb finger, stop.
Okay.
Because if it goes too far, it'll ping.
Okay.
And somebody's ring could disappear. Because I've seen that before. It wasn't me, by the way. Can I just
Oh,
say?
that's a good
It
wedding
wasn't
trick,
me.
though.
Yeah. Oh no, look, I do something else with the wedding ring. No, I don't do anything with the wedding ring. Sometimes more the engagement ring to have fun with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's something it's very simple, but trust me, when you show it to people, they'll break into a smile because they're seeing something special. And the slower you make it move, the better it's going to look. Trust me, make it move really, really slowly. Oh, see, that was the other thing I was worried about. Like, what kind of tartan do you wear?
Oh.
And I was going to say, that's a really good question. Because this is my Scottish hockey tartan. Because I do work for Scottish Hockey,
Yeah.
and they give me a tie, and that's
It's nice. I was going to ask you.
well, that was one of the questions. You see, I was going to say, well, what kind of tartan would you put a magician in?
What kind of tartan would you put a magician
Yeah,
in?
you see, what's the story? Is the story behind? But anyway, so do you have like, tell me a little bit about your business here.
We custom make products in over 500 tartans. So it's all about the heritage and the history and what clan you're part of or what region you come from.
Cool. Right, I'm gonna grab that for a sec. Sorry. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Right, then this is the difference that you make. So it's just 2 cards. This one's folded up. You'll see why in a moment. Okay. And when you go into another, because there are other tartan shops available, however, not as good as you. Not as good as you, because what they're going to do, they're going to come in looking for things, but there's a barrier, because there's a limited range out there, and they kind of get stuck inside that barrier. But when they come and see you, I mean, they think there's still that, you know, they're getting ready for not being able to find the perfect thing they want, okay, and they get caught up in that thought. However, with you, there is no barrier, and they can break through that expectation. Oh yeah, by the way, it's definitely okay, and pull all the way through to have the greatest magical experience of their lives. And it is just
Oh, I just don't
a
know
card.
how you do that. It is magical.
Yeah. So that just came into my head when you said that. No, but this is it's. I never get to use this. This is why I carry it around. I don't use it when I'm working because there's nothing to put it into. It's everything to do is kind of built up, you know. But I just love it. It's just a really nice bit of classic magic.
That is classic.
You know.
I love that.
Yes.
Very cool.
You've got your top
Fantastic.
things.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That was great.
So in magic, we all have heroes, right? And there's a name that everybody knows, which is Harry Houdini. Right? Everybody knows the name Harry Houdini, but he passed away over 100 years ago. And when he was about, there was no internet, there was no television. So how do people remember his name? And what is it he did that was different from other magicians?
Vanishing.
Oh. There you go. Oh, by the way, this is my little Houdini commemorative coin. I don't know how
Yes.
much you'll see, but you can
Harry
describe.
Houdini.
There you go. On one side,
Got
on the,
Harry, and on the other side, we have the Great Escapist.
because what Houdini would do, he could escape from anywhere. He used to tour the world and challenge local locksmiths to lock him in somewhere, and he would escape from it. And not only that, they would strip search him first to make sure he wasn't carrying any lock picking tools or things like that. It's an amazing legend of the guy, and that's him in there. And I keep him here, just make sure there's nothing else in there. Okay, yeah.
Nope, nothing else.
So there you go. He goes in there because that way, at least I know he can't escape from here, right?
Yeah.
Because that would be ridiculous if he was.
Where's he gone?
I don't know. This has happened. Do you want to reach in and take him
There's
out?
something. Oh, there's something else.
Oh,
It's hanging.
and what's happened to the coin?
We've lost him.
Is there anything else inside? He's definitely
No,
gone.
there's definitely
He's
nothing else.
definitely gone. Unbelievable. He's done it again. Amazing.
He's disappeared. He's escaped.
Thank you.
That was very cool.